Hey, True Badger Nexus ecosystem. Nice to see you all today. We are back with a DeFi uh, Divas call. And we're super excited today to welcome a very special guest, Pixie Duzzutti. Oh, yeah, I did it again. Hold on. We have to do that once every couple of weeks because we have this call every 2 weeks.
Right,
So I'm just
right.
Just kidding.
So
All right. So Deb Caswell, Rhonda Bembo, Don Clifton, we're all part of the DeFi Divas. And today we have with us Miss Pixie Paula Duzzutti. Paula, where are you calling in from? That I don't know.
Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston. Excellent. Well, it's nice to have you on. We sure appreciate that you're joining us today. So we like to take this call and talk about women in crypto and the fact that there just aren't very many of us. And I know that you're coming to crypto from an NFT space. Is that correct? Why don't you tell us how, what your experience is, how you kind of got into this space. I know you come from the distillery. So tell us your whole story.
Actually, I come from financial services. Yeah, I don't. There's not enough time for my whole story. I'm gonna be reducing things to just little bullet points, including my name. I can't wait. I'll feel like I'll have arrived when I'm just called PP for Pixie Paula. You know how Prince just down to like a symbol.
Right.
When I'm the symbol pie, I'll be happy too. But I came out of financial services industry as a woman on Wall Street decades ago. I was very young to begin with to get my Series 7 and 63 and 6 and a whole bunch of other designations. I was taking cable partnership. I was convincing people that cable was going to really be a thing one day. Can you imagine? That's how far back I go.
Wow.
And trying to convince people about cable. Can you imagine? It's just as hard as trying to convince people today about cryptocurrencies and NFTs. So I was selling partnerships, telling people they should invest in cable. It was the way of the future. And people thought it was just never going to be a thing. They weren't going to give up their antenna airs and move out of analog and into anything related to cable. So we went through cable regulation, deregulation, re-regulations, and I expect the same thing is going to happen in crypto and NFTs. So from early on, I really was in the financial services. And what I found in my studies and where I found my niche was in helping women do financial planning, because unfortunately, the statistics back in the 80s were that 90% of women were going to be 100% alone in their life. Were they 100% ready financially? And those statistics, sadly, still have not changed. So, and we're talking, 3 decades ago for me, almost 4 decades ago, actually. Yeah, 4 decades. Now I'm giving way of my age here, but it's kind of a sad testament, right? And so is what really drives me is making sure, as a single mom, making sure that I have always come up to be able to advise my clients who look up to me on what are the new trends, what's new in financial services. So I was an early adapter to cryptocurrencies and definitely an early adapter to the NFTs. Right away for me, it clicked as I saw the relationship between the NFT smart contracts being a way to finance my current focus in my industry, as you mentioned, which is in the distilled spirit space or the alcoholic beverage space, which is also so highly regulated and following a set of archaic, anti-constitutional, broken rules that do not marry at all what is happening in the real world. And it's so broken that it's almost beyond repair. So it will take something disastrous to really wake up the industry in the space. And I think that's what's happening with NFTs as far as being smart contracts to represent rare and unique items as an owner authenticity that's not going to go away. And it's replacing the hassle of using crowdfunding mechanisms to build small businesses. And something will happen with regulation for sure. We just don't know yet, right? What's going to happen.
I love that. Thank you so much for telling that story. And when you talked about women in the workplace and women in general, what's going to happen to women over time if they're really not paying attention to their finances. I find that so fitting too in the blockchain, because all of these companies that are starting, all of these tokens that are launching, there are so many ways for women to get their foot in the door and jump into this space with their current skills. This what they're doing today, they can do in these businesses on the blockchain, and really get in and understand this new technology. And I think that it's going to catapult women if they'll just trust and jump in with their current skills. I love that.
That's absolutely true. It is the only time in history that the playing field has absolutely been equalized and leveled.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, because I do tours at the distillery all day long, every day, and people come in, and as I'm not always the tour guide, but when I'm on, it's invariably the same result. I will be talking about distillation or the alchemy behind yeast seeding sucraloses and sugars and conversions into alcohol. And then I'll say, oh, and by the way, I was the first to take the $13 trillion alcohol industry to the blockchain 3.0 with the first ever NFT, with the first ever barrel of bourbon made in South Carolina. And then I hear this: what's an NFT?
Right.
And that's coming from, so they don't care like about everything else I just discussed, but the guys and the women alike will say, what's an NFT? Now, I love that I get that question. The scary thing is I will then describe it a little bit and get like this blank stare. And then I'll say, are you familiar at all with cryptocurrencies? And I'll get, okay. The women are more likely to say yes. It's amazing. And the guys will do the because they know they can't really have this conversation. And I'm trying to be generically, segregated here, but I'm saying that we're equal in the space.
Yeah. Yeah. And that tends to sometimes make people a little uncomfortable, I believe. Yeah. I love
I
that.
believe so too.
Yeah. Excellent. Rhonda, what say you?
So, Pixie, tell us about that first little venture into NFT and how that, because I'm sorry, but to be able to say that you were the first to take NFTs and apply that concept to alcohol, what? To a bottle of something? We're used to it being a piece of art or a piece of a cartoon, let's call it, whatever. That's what folks are used to, but to put it to a physical something and turn it into an NFT, what was going through your head when you thought of that? I mean,
Well, again, when I first started looking at NFTs, I thought, oh, these are nothing more than smart contracts. And if there's a way to be able to move the ownership of alcohol around, because it's so highly regulated, you could only move the space by what's called either a transfer and bond, which means you have to have a distilled spirits permit to be able to move the product from one location to another location, or you have to use an auction house to sell some rare goods. But the reality is that the actual distiller holds title to all of those properties and can age them. Just think like an aged wine cellar or a secret, liquor locker at a cigar bar. They hold the rights to be able to hold and manage those. And you're not really, assignment of ownership never really leaves the master distiller within that distilled spirit place. And that's just how the law is. So I thought that, oh, they're moving all these contracts around with these rare goods. This is a way to actually sell title to title to title, with me being the good steward of holding on to these rare goods and good opportunities, and still have each of those NFT holders be able to prove that they had ownership in the space. So that's what got me started thinking about it in the beginning. And then I was having to turn around by making so many barrels of liquor and trying to get them financed all the time. It's an industry that it's heavily capital intensive, because you have a aging period for these goods to become valuable. And so it's upfront capital is intensive, and you're always replacing the goods that you're drinking, and you've got this timeline lead. So you got to continually be replenishing your supply. And if you create demand, then you have to triple or exponentially lay down your new, what they call new fill, to be able to meet the increasing demand of maybe a 5-year-old product. So I thought there's got to be a way to potentially finance these barrels. And I had a group of guys that were at one of the crypto conferences in Miami listen to somebody in line while they were at the bar getting a cocktail say, somebody should put an NFT behind these barrels. And my partners were there saying, we know just the girl to do it. And so we were connected and we went to town, and I just was like, guys, if this is a universal principle here, if there's no such thing as original thought, if I'm thinking it, so are millions of people across the globe. Right now, it's get to the marketplace, be first to get to the marketplace and tell the story. And so that's what happened. We worked tirelessly day and night for almost 3 months because they were newbies in the space. They had to learn everything about my world. I was new at minting the first NFT and was relying about a bunch of us to just totally put together our intensity and get out and make it happen. And then we had to do the research too, because of making the claims. We saw these other NFTs happening in the marketplace. And we saw people outside the United States creating NFT artwork around a bottle, but they weren't really actually minting the product. Nobody actually had held the tangible piece of the NFT, which what we call asset-based NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So we were like, okay, we're onto something here, but we're going to actually do it with legitimacy. And then we tied that to the first ever barrel just to give it that premiumization and excitement. And on 11/11, we were deciding on the day. And in my head, I'm very, very spiritual and very, very metaphysical. And I said, I want to do 11/11, 111 bottles out of this, with 111 individual NFTs out of this one barrel. And we went from the launch of concept to a waiting list in 1 hour.
Wow.
And then we created these unique 111 variable AR different NFTs. We held an artist contest, an international artist contest, because I then said, because I'm a woman, and I said, okay, if we're going to go and put all of this recognition to the project, let's build somebody's career in the middle of this. Let's find some artist. And I was so hopeful to find a female artist that could design something clever around the striped pig and put it out into the marketplace. And we had submissions from all around the world, which makes me know that this is the right path to try to be able to still continue to build these artists' careers and give them the visibility and some marketing kudos by doing the NFTs. And so at the last minute, I got a submission from a gentleman who said, I know that I'm past the deadline, but if you haven't made the decision yet, this just came across my Discord today. Please, 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 will you take the submission? And my team was like, no, you just said yesterday, if we don't go today, we're not going. I go, I know what I said, but in this case, I'm asking you just to take a look. And sure enough, they all fell in love. And we created the pig, and the rest is history, and more history coming with exciting things around these little furry creatures that are running around.
That is beautiful. Pixie, real quick, I do have a question for you, but I was wondering if you could share your website, any pertinent information for people to be able to find out more about you. That would be wonderful, because I'm sure they're intrigued and would love to know more about you and your companies. So please do that for us. You can do it anytime, maybe just here in a minute. But my question to you is, since we met you a couple months ago, of course, we've been, diving into the spirits world, right? The distilleries and all those things. And we've come across, different articles, and you've shared different articles with us, of course, about how things are moving, along and everything. And I'm curious to know, from your perspective, how do you feel, or how do you see this impact in the near future of what's going on here with other distilleries and NFTs and everything? What do you see changing?
Everything.
Okay.
Just that?
Just that.
Well, you got it. Okay, we're done here. Thanks for
see
joining.
ya. Thank you.
Everything. I think everything will change. So, our technology train only goes one way. There's no going back. And I think that there'll be variations and different adaptations around this technology, but I think you're only limited by your imagination on how you can choose to utilize and adapt it to our everyday life to make our days better. And we've discussed this which is one of the reasons why I love you guys so much, because our hearts are all in the same place, that ultimately we are people first, right? Product second and process last. And the products and the processes of the future are going to emanate from the people who were meant to be born leaders, the leaders of our next time. And I think that the world is changing. We've seen this with COVID. We all feel the change. It's no pivoting or transition or what, like, no, like we don't even have to say the new normal anymore. Like even that's an old term, right? This is just it. This is just life now. We don't need, it's moved so quickly that we don't even need to coin a transition term because we've already moved. We've already adapted. We've already moved on. And so that's how quickly things are moving. And so I believe that the softwares and the engineering and the applications and the coding that runs NFT applications are just going to adapt into everyday life. It just makes it so easy to identify and to marry peoples and principles. And those of us that are responsible stewards of this technology are the people of the new earth, is what I think, is the people who care so much about what our world looks like and what legacy we leave, to our children and grandchildren. So that's why I'm excited about it's going to change everything, because it just will. And think of how many hours you're spending on your projects. Think about all the other people in the world that we don't know about that are spending hours on updating and adapting to the new technologies for the next space. Craziness.
Agreed. It is crazy. Yes. Thank you.
Well, I noticed that we have with us our fourth diva on this team, and that is Mr. Peter Gantner. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Oh, you are muted.
You are muted.
You're muted, Peter.
I don't hear you. You're muted.
There
Am
you
I
are.
unmuted now?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I was at the gym, but I left the gym actually early to be on here because I did not want to miss Pixie being on here. We've been working and talking together, and I got to tell you, the great part about the Nexus ecosystem and what we're doing and putting together is really about leveraging people's talents, this brilliance. The career of Pixie, what she's put together, her contacts, everything that she's done. Pixie is one of these people that you're sitting there going, God, I wish I could be in business with her. Well, guess what? Through the NFTs, through tokenization, through this stuff, you can be in business with her through what we're doing in the Nexus ecosystem. I think that's where a lot of people miss out. They look at people and say, wow, I wish I could, I wish I could, I wish I could. The way that you can connect and be a part of it is by getting involved in supporting the people with their brilliance. Brilliance alone doesn't give you the resources to do what you need to do. And normally in life up to this point, which is why the rich get richer, is that brilliant people go to rich people to get the resources to bring out their brilliance, to bring their idea to life. This new technology, this new way of doing things allows us to support and give resources to brilliant, talented people like Pixie and help her achieve her dream and get a piece of the pie. That is that's the path that we're on, guys. And that's what you need to get in your head is don't look at it and go, wow, I wish. Get active, help provide the resources for Pixie to do what she's doing and continue to build. She's already created a tremendous amount of success, but with a community of thousands, eventually tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people behind her and helping push, this is a $1 billion project in the making. and it's going to turn into just an absolute juggernaut out there. So, and I'm sure at some point we'll see her on the front cover of Time magazine or something, right? Businesswoman of the century.
Yes, I
Right.
love that.
Yes.
Well, she's already an International Businesswoman of the Year
That's
from
right.
the Atlanta Chamber this year. So, I mean, Pixie, we don't have enough time for you to tell us about all of your awards, but honestly, you're an author, you are an entrepreneur, you are a rule breaker, you're a renegade, you are an inspiration. You're a mother of how many kids did you say?
9 children.
No.
9 children.
I mean, that alone. This explains why she got into whiskey and the spirits.
Yes, I was
I
thinking the
get it now.
same thing.
Yes.
Now I know. But you,
9
and
children, 8 grandchildren,
how many
Wow.
grandkids?
8.
8 grandchildren so
Just
far.
8?
The hip hop grandma. That's what I am.
I
That's
love it. I love it.
beautiful.
One of the challenges that we have with YouTube, guys, and I'm not reading the chat, but Sharon is sort of keeping us abreast of what might be, going on YouTube. It's really hard for us to post links in the YouTube chat. So trust us when I tell you we've got 2 or 3 links here for you. And if they don't show up in the chat for YouTube, we will put them within the description of this call, and then we'll make sure they're in Telegram as well. So you won't miss out connecting with her. We'll make sure that those posts are someplace. And I honestly, Pixie, she has this site, which is absolutely brilliant, skirt.com. I'm in love with this site. I'm in love with everything that you're doing with the mission of what that stands for and what you're doing. And you've written a book. How many books? I know you've got a new one coming out, but how many books have you written?
Published and written is actually only one so far,
Mhm.
and that's called Open
One more
Your
than me.
Book. And I wrote that with Kim Coles from In Living Color. Does anybody remember?
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then she
you're
went on to do
kidding.
In Living Social. And this is how all these things come crazy full circle. So that book opened, so she was one of the first African-American comedians and like the first to actually have a network television show between Saturday Night Live, In Living Single, In Living Color, right? Working with the Wayans brothers and all of that space. So she was brilliant in her time and for her time. And she's a good friend of mine. And so she transitioned, as we all do when we get to this wonderful, magical age here of the age of refinement and adaptation and alignment.
Love that. I love that. That's a great description.
We just, come into having this bigger heart. Well, I've always had this huge heart space, but this space of really analyzing what's it all about. So anyway, we wrote this book, Open Your Gifts. And I wrote the book on the power. I wrote the chapters on the power of intention. So that was my first published book. But now I've been publishing for a long time in Golf Digest and People Magazine and numerous articles and journals, and of course Skirt Magazine. And I've written for Entrepreneur World. So I've been writing a lot, but that was my first published book. Now I'm working on 6 books. And they're all going to come together. And it's interesting because I've had my website on my book. I've had one website since 1993 with as a card carrying member of American Express, Laughter Through Tears. So I knew that was going to be one of my books. Now, how this ties to what we're doing in NFTs, I just found out today, you may recall that the week ago Saturday, I had last year I formed the American Comedy Guild, and we had a fundraiser at my distillery for veterans. We did the Best Medicine Brigade show, where it was the first time ever that we brought together comics from all 5 branches of the armed services. And so we had somebody from the Air Force, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Marines, and the Navy. And they all got up and dissed each other, and they were all retired veterans comics. We sold close to 200 tickets, we had one comic after another come up and share to an audience of people who were sensitive to the needs of homelessness in our communities. Because through COVID, all these fundraisers and galas that these nonprofit volunteer organizations put on to raise money for our homeless veterans, they couldn't do any of this. So the homelessness of veterans increased by like 43% over the last 2 years, and 13% were women. And who knew that 1% of female veterans are homeless? And so these numbers just keep growing. Well, I found out today when we did all the final tabulations that we raised almost $50,000, which is a big deal for a tiny little distillery like me. The big boy distributors will promote that they'll raise $15,000 or $20,000 for nonprofit causes. And in one night, we raised $50,000. I thought it was like 20,000, and that's what I've been saying. But today the numbers came in because we had private silent auctions as well. And they're like, we raised $50,000.
Wow.
It's just an amazing thing. It's just an amazing thing. So you look at the comedy, Laughter Through Tears, that I called out all those years together. And here we are bringing the whole comedy space together around our barrels and our NFTs and doing these fundraisers. And we're saying we need to require to get into the next event that you have to be an NFT holder. And if we do adaptations with our, this is right, what we're not really selling spirits, we're selling inspiration here, but the Give Back initiative, well, what I call sip and share, to be able to unite all of these fundraising mechanisms and be able to shift the wealth that's accumulated within those space to our partners in exchange for that brand loyalty, then now we've got community celebration and prosperity happening at the same time, and we can do good, right, while having a good time. And that gives real meaning to Let's Drink Responsibly.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited.
Wow.
Incredible.
I am so inspired by your story. My goodness. Congratulations on the 50,000. That's incredible. There are so many things that we can do in this industry, in this space. And you, Pixie, are taking an industry and you're exploding it in a completely different way using this space. You guys, if you don't know anything about blockchain, if you haven't dove into the crypto space, I encourage everybody to go to the Nexus ecosystem and learn about some of the things that we're doing here. Because here at the Nexus ecosystem, we help you get started in crypto. We'll explain to you what the NFTs are. We'll help walk you through all of it. And you'll have people at your fingertips live on Zoom with you if you want to be, helping get you started. You guys, you can't miss this. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. I think this is an opportunity of many lifetimes to get involved right now, today. So please visit the Nexus ecosystem. Let us know that you need a little help. We're going to walk you through whatever it is that you need. We're going to get you started in crypto, get you started in NFTs. And Pixie, thank you so much for coming on with us today. What a treat. What an amazing treat. I love your heart. Like this was my first time with Pixie. And so I've heard from the ladies for a month now about this amazing woman somewhere in the ether. And I'm just so blessed to be able to finally meet you and listen to your story and hear your heart and just realize that I understand why you're here. So I understand why we're all here. So anyway,
We love and adore her so much. Like, we can't stop talking about her. We can't stop adoring on her.
Well, we all have a bit of a girl crush on Pixie.
Oh, we do. Big time. Big time.
We do.
I need that love right now. Like Peter said, it's such hard work. And especially when you're single, right? The kids are wonderful and they're a great support system, and I couldn't do it without them. But in the hierarchy of women, right, we stand at the head of our matriarchs and then we tumble down. And my mom, I love her to pieces. She's going to be 80. And it's, I fear every day, like, she's my best friend. She's my confidant. She's like, go get him, no matter what. And she'll say, they can't fool you. They can't fool you. It's just all these just little nuggets of wisdom. And it's really important because you think it's just for, like I said, downstream, but it's upstream too. It makes women who worked really hard at passing the baton to get to be with women that they can say, this is the first in multi-generations of women that went to college or that developed a career that was outside of secretary, right? It's like, it's so inspirational for them because they worked so hard. So it's not just about our generation and the next generation and the XYZers. It's really about those baby boomers and the generation before. It warms their hearts too, because it was really, really hard work for them to get us to where we are today. And if you don't think that every little piece of us counts, it sure does. Whether you're voting or not, whether you're showing up with crypto, whether you're investing and making your space and your little numbers heard, and it doesn't matter how big or how small it is, your vote counts, and it's representative of an entire initiative that changes the world for financials for women. So it's there's no excuse to say I don't understand it and to stand blindly by and have an ignorance in the space, because that one little tiny purchase makes a difference in representation of women in this financial space. So I encourage you to get comfortable, find a group of people like this, find an ecosystem like this where it's safe, where you can do girl talk, where you can do skirt to skirt and under the skirt and don't skirt the issue. And you can have these relationships that are safe and have real talk, but don't sit by and do nothing, because your vote is mattering whether you actually put it forward or not.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen. This is
Very
this is a replay. This is a replay and replay DeFi Divas for sure.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
brilliant.
Absolutely.
We will be hearing
Thank
more
you.
from Pixie as
Yes.
we bring the project that we're working on, which we're not going to talk about yet, but it's coming soon. And I think you get an idea, maybe a
No,
little bit of
Peter.
an idea as to what
No,
it is.
Peter.
Yeah, Peter, you can't come in at the end and just spoil it and tell everybody whatever.
No bomb drops.
Just
No,
mid him,
all
Deb,
I'm,
if he
all I'm
starts
gonna
it.
say is this, guys. You see why I am outnumbered on the team by women. Okay, this is why we have over 50% of our team are women. You see what Pixie's doing. You see what these ladies are doing. It's incredible. They bring so much value to what we're doing and to the lives of other people. And the way to fix things is not to complain. The way to fix things are not to, it's to make things happen and support the people that you want to help advance and move forward. And that's what we're doing with the Nexus ecosystem. Pixie, it's been great so far working with you, but we are going to help with you driving and making your dream come true and putting all of this stuff together, because it's hard to find people with the work ethic, with the talent and the belief in themselves to make big things happen. And you are one of those people. And I just thank you for coming on here. And of course, thank you for, joining us on the Nexus ecosystem and helping us develop the project that we're developing, which I'm not going to say anything. The ladies have told me I'm not allowed to, so I'm not going to drop any bombs about anything about True Badger.
Oh, stop. Okay.
Anything else. I'm just nothing else. We're going to move on from there. All right. Love you guys.
Love you,
Thank
Peter.
you.
Thank you. It's
Thank
been
you.
an honor, Peter. Thank you.
Oh, Pixie,
That's so
we
humble.
will
Thank you,
bring you
guys.
back on to this call as often as we can.
Oh,
Just so you know, you've got
absolutely.
an open invitation to pop in with us every other Thursday at 4 p.m. So if you can bring
Yep.
bourbon, and if that
Yeah.
maybe your drink of choice.
Sure.
It's fine. It's a little early for me and Deb, but
What?
we could be convinced, right? Really? Isn't it? And we are I just want to tell you as well, Pixie, the comments on YouTube are nothing but love, nothing but
Aw.
love for you. So everybody is
great.
absolutely in love with you, darling.
Yes.
Aw.
Please come back anytime. I've been trying to get you here for weeks
I
and weeks
know.
and weeks and
Yes.
weeks. I know you're so
I know.
busy, but we're so grateful for your time and your
Yeah.
stories and your encouragement and your just your
That's
aura. It's really an honor to just follow in your footsteps and just make things happen. And we just love you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it so much. It's like I said, it's so needed. I'm humbled and honored, and I'm so delighted to see what we do next.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome.
gonna
Me
be
too.
such
All
Her
right,
links are in
everybody.
YouTube, so follow her, like her, comment on her, and if subscribe to Skirt and get involved. That's why one of the things we can do to support her now is
Flood
take
the
that love
social
we feel
media.
right now.
Always
Spread it.
flood the
I was
social
gonna
media.
say, I will push like my Instagram. I'm on a mission to build my Instagram, which is Pixie Paula Official. Easy to remember, but that's my thing. I wanna build my Instagram.
All
All
right.
right. Well,
We're
let's go
there.
make it happen, ladies.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody who listens to this has to go like it, share it with at least 5 people. I don't know. Let's
All
build
right.
it.
Excellent. All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much, everybody. We
Thank
will
you.
be back in 2 weeks, Thursdays at 4 o'clock, every other Thursday. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pixie. We'll
Thank
see you
you,
next
You're
time.
welcome.
Love
Cheers,
you.
everyone.
Bye.